How's it going, guys? This is some random fellow, and here we are with week, I believe, 8 of the C2GS Draft League Season 0. We're going in Scion. Both of us are 4 and 2 this week. Um, yeah, so it is week 8. He has a pretty threatening team. He has a pretty powerful sand team. Couple things to note is he so far has never brought Mega Steelix before, and I don't think he intends to at this point because of the joke. Um, He's very rarely brought Palisand. I don't think he's ever brought Palisand actually, and yeah, he's got a pretty scary sand team. Reuniclus is pretty threatening, as we'll get into later. Tangrowth can be threatening. Frostlass can be threatening. I think we have appropriate checks to all those, so let's get right into the team. First, we have Melmetal, which is going to be our main switch into the Reuniclus. That is probably the single most threatening Pokemon to my team because I don't have any Ghost, Bug, or Dark types at all. If it's a stored power set, it's very capable of just straight up 6-0ing me. In order to be such a set, it would need to have stored power, recover, and calm mind. And then the fourth move is pretty flexible. It could be acid armor to get more boosts. It could be focus blast to hit Melmetal, or it could be shadow ball or thunderbolt or thunder or energy ball or whatever to hit Slowbro, or I guess signal beam also. So this Melmetal set is going to be the best set against the Shadow Ball option. We're going to have different sets on this team that can handle all the different stored power variants, and we have to try to figure out which one it is and use the appropriate one, basically. So this is the set that helps us the best against the Shadow Ball option. It's also pretty good against Acid Armor. Basically, a +2 defensive stored power does 24 to 29% to an Assault Vest Melmetal. If it's +3, I think it's a little bit over half. I have to run Assault Vest here, basically to tank hits from the Reuniclus as well as possible. I'd like to run no item to help me switch into Frost/Poltergeist better, or even protective pads to block against potential Rocky Helmets on the Mandibuzz, Reuniclus, or Tangrowth, or anything else like that. I really do need the Assault Vest in order to handle this effectively, though. We have enough attack EVs such that Double Iron Bash is going to 2-hit KO all possible unboosted Reuniclus, ignoring leftovers. 12 speed EVs is mostly to try to protect against the speed creep. So we're base 34 speed, and Reuniclus is base 30 speed. And if Reuniclus wanted to, it could try to speed creep us by investing just a few speed EVs in order to outspeed us. We have 12 EVs on ourselves to cover that. So even if he outspeeds us by 2 whole points, we're still faster than it. I really, really want to make sure that I'm faster than this thing, so that's why I'm spending a whole 12 EVs on it. Double Iron, and the reason why I want to outspeed it is because Double Iron Bash, I want it to go first because it comes with a very juicy 51% chance to flinch, which could come in very useful in this matchup. It's a 2-hit KO, like I said, with our attack investment, and if it ends up being an Acid Armor set, we can chip it with Double Iron Bashes. It does 39 to 46% to a max HP, max defense Reuniclus. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Hang on, I got a little bit ahead of myself. It's gonna do like around a third, I think, if it's at +2 with Double Iron Bash, and then we can get it in range of about 40% or so, because that's how much Darkest Lariat is gonna do. Because if you don't know, Darkest Lariat ignores the target stat changes. So if it has defense boosts, Darkest Lariat is gonna go through those. So the idea is to chip it down with Double Iron Bashes, getting a bunch of flinches as we go, hopefully, and then getting it in range of a Darkest Lariat, which ignores the defense boost, and then killing it with that. That's the main idea if it ends up being an Acid Armor variant. And Eevee's going to be recovering a lot because we're not going to flinch every time, obviously, but I think we have just barely enough Double Iron Bashes to pull it off. It's a little bit stressful, though, because we only have 8 to work with, but I think we can do it. And this is probably the scariest variant. But our Slowbro is able to handle it also, so it's not that big of a deal. Earthquake hits most things besides Mandibuzz and Tangrowth, and Superpower has more or less the same coverage, but it's just more of a nuke option. I thought about giving this Self-Destruct again, but I decided that I wanted to go with Superpower anyway, because, I don't know, it's not that much stronger. I don't think it's stronger than Double Iron Bash, so I might as well keep myself alive while attacking in that case. So next up is Slowbro. This is our alternate Reuniclus counter. This is also our main defensive switch into Excadrill and Stoutland. So a Jolly Sandforce Excadrill Earthquake does 33 to 40% to us. And when we're Mega Evolved, and a Choice Band Adamant Stoutland Return does 40 to 47. I think Crunch is a little bit weaker than that, but I'm not 100% sure because of the stab boost. And a Jolly Sandforce Dugtrio Earthquake does 27 to 32%. I should note that my opponent does have Dug Trio, but Sand Veil and Arena Trap are both banned, so it's forced to be the Sand Force ability. Scald does pretty good damage on most things, and it offers a good burn chance. It's an easy 2-hit KO on non-specially defensive Steelix and Palossand, which he's never brought, but it's good to be prepared for them. It one-shots Excadrill after some chip. It does about a quarter to Dracozolt Mandibuzz and a defensive Tangrowth. It does about a third to defensive Reuniclus and specially defensive Gigalith. It's an easy one-shot on Dugtrio, and it does over a third to Stoutland, and it's almost a 2-hit KO on a max HP Frostlass. We also have a Rain Dance to remove sand and power up our Scalds. Gigalith is his only setter, so that's like the main thing we have to worry about. The potential problem with this is he could Toxic on the Rain Dance, which would suck, but at this point, Slowpoke getting Toxic early is kind of a common thing anyway, so I'm used to it at this point. And Psych Up is going to be our way of handling Reuniclus this week. It's similar to last week with the Psych Up versus Sigilif, which we never actually used, but this is sort of the same strategy. Basically, we can live a +3/+3 stored power, Psych Up to take the boosts, and then we Mega Evolve on the same turn so that we're also blocking crits, because when we Mega Evolve, we get the Shell Armor ability, which prevents us from getting crit, basically. So at that point, it's just going to be a battle between us two healing and attacking each other back and forth until eventually I'll crit. Because I can't get crit because I'm Shell Armor, so eventually I have to crit. And a crit +3 Scald is enough to one-shot Reuniclus. We have lots of special defense investment, to make sure that we're tanking on like a +3 stored power the best. And then we have our 44 speed EVs here. This brings us to 107 speed, which is the exact same benchmark as this Melmetal. That's the goal behind that. Next up is Captain America. This is a decent Excadrill or Stoutland or Dracozolt switch-in if it's lacking Draco Meteor. A Jolly Sandrush Earthquake Excadrill. A Jolly Sandrush Earthquake from an Excadrill, does 32 to 37%. An Adamant Choice Band Sandrush Stoutland Return does 45 to 54%. An Adamant Life Orb Dracozolt Outrage does 43 to 51% to us. And a Draco Meteor is a roll to Oko if it's max special attack. We switch into Gigalith easily, barring Toxic and Explosion, I think. He's probably going to have Toxic most likely, though, so we do have to be aware of that. I'd like to avoid Donphan getting Toxic, pretty much, but he is pretty scared of it. He's told me before that he's very scared of this thing, so he's probably going to try to Toxic it, but we'll see. Earthquake is an excellent stab option this week because he's bringing so many sand users. It hits most of his team quite hard, and our EV investment lets me Oko an uninvested Dracozolt, and the rest of it is going to go into defensive bulk. We're also going to be Okoing Excadrill and Dugtrio, and 2-hit KOing Stoutland and Gigalith. Knockoff is a good utility move, of course. If it's Frostlass hard, I'd like to remove items from most of his sweepers. If something is like Choice Band, it can get really scary. If it's like a Dracozolt that's like Hustle and Choice Scarf, then that could be bad. I'd like to remove that. If it's like a Sand Force Excadrill with a Choice Scarf or even a Choice Band, I'd also really like to remove that. The one thing I'm scared of is a potential weakness policy Reuniclus set. If it is a weakness policy set and I end up triggering it, then I could end up being in big trouble. But I think between Slowbro and Melmetal, we have the tools to handle it. And also I can judge damages in like early moves to try to estimate if it's weakness policy or not, if we get the opportunity to. Rapid Spin, of course, removes hazards. It's going to be our only hazard removal this week, as you can see. We don't have Defog on Klefki. And it gives us a good speed boost. We're probably not going to be utilizing it that much, but it could come into play eventually, maybe. And Toxic is actually our main way of hitting the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is quite annoying for our team. It's extremely bulky, and it's an excellent defogger. Foul Play hits my team pretty decently hard, and I considered Stone Edge, but it doesn't do a lot to the bird at all. The only problem with this is we could get taunted, and I suppose it might be more optimal to bring a Mental Herb to prevent that, but I think overall Leftovers is better. It's going to be hard to get a Toxic off on this, but I think if we can, then we're in really good shape. And we're bringing back a classic from week 2. We have Choice Scarf Zeraora, my favorite. This is Choice Scarf, and it lets us outspeed the Sand Abusers, even Excadrill, which is his fastest Sand Abuser. Plasma Fist is a good stab. It's a decent stab move this week. It 2-hit KOs a standard OU defensive Mandibuzz set. It doesn't really hit that much else because he has a lot of ground types, and that's the main reason for no Volt Switch despite us being Choice Scarfed. We could potentially use the fact that we're not Volt Switching to hide the Choice Scarf, though. Maybe. We'll see. Close Combat's going to be your main stab move. It's a 75% chance to one-hit KO Dugtrio, even though it's likely going to be Focus Sash. So basically any chip is going to guarantee KO, essentially. It's a guaranteed KO on Excadrill after Stealth Rock chip. For the first time, rocks could potentially matter on an Excadrill, but we'll see. It's huge damage on the stat line. It does about 40 to 47% to Dracozolt, and it's a 2-hit KO on specially defensive Gigalith. Hidden Power Ice is a good snipe for Tangrowth. That's not that great, but otherwise it completely walls us, and this does about 40 to 47% to a physically defensive Tangrowth, and it does about a third to Palisand, I'd say. Outrage is a super spicy nuke option. It's mainly meant to snipe the Dracozolt if it's like getting out of hand and I need a revenge option against it. It does 80 to 94% to Dracozolt, so if it has a little bit of chip on it where it's in KO range, this is a bit of a kamikaze option because it locks me into Outrage and I can't switch, and I'll easily get revenge killed by the next thing, most likely Excadrill. And my opponent doesn't have any fairy types, so he can't unlock me from outraging. But at least we'll get a really solid hit off on something before he KOs us, unless it's like Excadrill or something. If it's like a Swords Dance substitute Excadrill that like decides to revenge kill this, then that can be pretty scary, but it's kind of the best we could do, I think. It's hard to prep for all of his guys. Okay, Roserade is going to be our main Tangrowth switching. Aerial Ace is its strongest move against me. It has Aerial Ace, believe it or not. And that's going to do like about half, which is a lot, but this is, honestly, I think this is the best we could do. Maybe Noivern would be better, but I prefer Roserade because it's immune to Sleep Powder, and most of its moves are weak to it. The Black Sludge is a good item to have for recovery. It's likely going to get knocked off because we're going to be switching into Tangrowth, but that's okay, I think. Giga Drain is a good recovery stab move. It's a KO on Dugtrio, and it's a chance to 2-hit KO Excadrill, and it does decent damage to Stoutland and Frostlass. Sludge Bomb does massive damage to Tangrowth. If we have 208 special attack EVs, we always 2-hit KO a fully specially defensive Assault Vest Tangrowth. And if it's physically defensive Tangrowth, it's a guaranteed OHKO. And then the rest has gone into bulk for survivability. 240 speed EVs lets us outspeed Excadrill. Sunny Day, it removes sand, and it synergizes with Synthesis for survivability. It's kind of anti-synergetic with Slowbros and its Rain Dance, but like they're anti-synergetic with each other, but I want Rain Dance on Slowbro to power up my Scalds potentially, and I want Sunny Day on this to power up my Synthesises. I could give this Sunny Day if I want to, but I don't know. I feel like this is better overall. I could be wrong though. Another thing I considered was Hidden Power Rock over Sunny Day, just to maybe like I'm not Hidden Power Rock, excuse me, Weather Ball. I meant to say Weather Ball. It could potentially be a rock type move or a water type move, depending on if it's raining or sandy. That was another thought I had, but I think Sunny Day is better. And then last but not least, we have No Item Klefki. This is going to be our main Mandibuzz and Frostlass switch-in. Frostlass is pretty spooky to my team. Triple Axle and Poltergeist is pretty hard to resist, especially if it ends up being a choice band set. Melmetal could, on paper, do it, but I really, really need it to be healthy for Reuniclus. We have no item here to make us immune to Poltergeist. And a Jolly choice banded Triple Axle from a Frostlass does 25 to 31% to us. The fact that we don't have any recovery does make this kind of scary, however, but we have Reflect to try to minimize the damage that we're taking from it. Dazzling Gleam is a stab move that hits Mandibuzz. It does about 30 to 35% to it. This plus Donphan's Toxic is good to like whittle it down. And we're also immune to the Mandibuzz's own Toxic, so that's good. If it was Heat Wave, that could be pretty intimidating. It does about a quarter to us, but Mandibuzz really has a hard time fitting Heat Wave onto its set. It needs all of its moves, basically. 44 speed EVs lets us outspeed a 0-speed Mandibuzz, and we can get a hit off before potentially U-turns out. And Foul Play hits mainly Frostlass, and it's good against the physical sweepers. Choice Band Frostlass takes 71 to 83%. And then Toxic is our fourth move. The reason why we have Toxic, even though Mandibuzz is a Dark type, so it's immune to Toxic, we still have this because it avoids Destiny Bond shenanigans from Frostlass, basically. So, like, if Frostlass is if it's at low health and it's potentially setting up a Destiny Bond, we can go for the Toxic so that we don't get brought down with it, essentially. So yeah, that's the team. This is going up on Sunday at midnight because I've been away for most of the week, so I haven't had. I'm literally doing this battle on Sunday night, so this team builder is going to go up right after that, and then on Monday at noon we're going to have the actual battle. So yeah, that's about it. See you guys.